So, something interesting here. It's an educational game, which is a little bit of a new ballpark compared to the stuff that we normally do. It is called Cell Station, and it is by a collaboration between the World Building Media Lab, Bridge Institute's Inner Space Project, and Children's Hospital Los Angeles. And it's a prototype game experience, so we need to remember this isn't a finished product by any case, but it is something that has been released for the public to see on Itch.io, so we don't need to tone down our response too much. Anyway, so it is a prototype game experience for educating diabetes patients about their diagnosis, how and why insulin is important, and lifestyle changes they can make. So we'll be adding those elements to our critique as well, particularly the fact that it is a prototype. So let's jump in and we'll have a look at the gameplay. I might wrap some of the critique in amongst the gameplay. So let me just start off by saying, thank you for watching the video. If you like it, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because that kind of thing boosts engagement, both for me, so it helps my channel, but especially for you as well, because it teaches YouTube what kind of videos the algorithm needs to feed you. So a well-trained YouTube algorithm is quite a good thing. So yeah, engage with the video just to boost that, if you don't mind, and for your own benefit. Anyway, let's run the game and jump in. So it's a Unity game. It's by Innerspace, this Center for Convergent Bioscience, whatever the World Building Media Lab is, and of course the Children's Hospital. We can also maximize the screen here. So our start menu just has three elements. There's how to play, which is a little tutorial section. There's the start, which takes you into the main game. And then there's the clinic button. And the clinic button takes us through to this kind of UI where we can talk to some people, look at a book with some pictures on that I think are supposed to be certain elements of it. So I'm not quite sure what the purpose of this is, but it's an interesting little resource to have a look at here. These might be the kind of the design documents for the game or something. I'm not sure. Anyway, we can click on this button to take us back to the main game. And we'll jump into the how to play to run through the tutorial. So, welcome to World in a Cell, which seems to be the alternative name for the game, but it is called Cell Station in Itch.io, so we'll go with that. Click the X to close the dialog boxes. To move, click or tap on walkable surfaces. So it's some of the design is for a tap screen, for a mobile phone, I suppose. So we'll close that. And we can click and tap around here. And there are these purple things that we can mouse over and pick up. Or actually click on and pick up. I don't know what the purpose is there. The clicking interface is a little kludgy. But, it's quite a complex environment, so that's fine. Orange signs have helpful facts and tips about diabetes. Click, tap on them to read. So we have an orange sign here. We need to get close enough to it that the eye pops up. And we can then click on it. Diabetes is a group of diseases that involve the hormone, insulin, and blood sugar levels. Oh, interesting little bit of info there. Nowhere else to go other than to collect more of these purple things that we still don't know what they are and why we're collecting them. You will also meet molecules and proteins of the cell. Click, tap on them when the icon appears to talk to them. So this is a molecule and or protein called ATP. Doesn't tell us anything about it, but I suppose that's not the point of the tutorial. Anyway, it says how do you see you in the cell. At least we know we can talk to them. Pick a few more purple things up. If you find groups of loose tetra pieces, click / tap on them to recombine them into a molecule or protein. So these purple bits we are collecting are apparently loose tetra pieces, but completely unrelated to that are the little groups of loose tetra pieces here, which we need to move close enough so that they highlight, and we can click on them one at a time and they slowly assembles the bits. Click on it one more time and it turns into the protein or whatever. That in this case is glucose, who says thanks for putting me together. We can collect a few more of these, and then we're told that the metro map sign at the end of each level to call the train and leave. Yep, backpack on that. Not sure what that's for. Anyway, so we can click on this and it brings the train in, and we can then step on the train and walk into where the crosshair is, and it takes us, in this case, to the end of the tutorial section. So that ends it, but it will take us to the next map. So, interesting tutorial. Didn't really educate us much on other than how to move around and how to talk to things. I suppose are relevant parts. I don't know why we picked up the little purple bits. I've played a few of the maps further into the game and haven't reached anything that kind of mechanic yet so far. Yeah, so there's interesting elements there. I think that's very much an unfinished part of the game, and I think it's something that needs to get finished. Also, this menu is a bit dodgy. There isn't really much theming to it to match the rest of the theming. I don't know why the clinic button's off to one side. And yeah, I think the how to play should be near the top or in the corner or something like that. So the start button is the main feature here, down at the bottom. So I don't know, there's some design considerations there. Otherwise it's fine. Let's click on start and jump in. So we are here at the station, which is apparently the Pancreas station. We're not told what we're doing there or why. We have this little loose cluster of things we can put together as before, and they go together and make the glucose molecule. I don't know what it is. Then we've got a few more molecules presented as statues, and we can go into the glucose station, the pancreas station rather, sorry. Was this glucose station? Pancreatic pathways and bloodstream, which is apparently platform 1. And we have some molecules, GLP1-R, who says, welcome to Pancreas Station, to call the train to the cell. Look at that metro map there. Yeah, we were taught about the metro maps. We can talk to these glucose things. Me and my buddies came from lunch. I think it was a sandwich. Hey, I'm glucose. I came from the food you just ate. I mean, presumably you came from the stomach, but anyway. Yeah, we have a thing we can click on here that has voice acting. If we can get close enough to it.
Welcome to the world in a cell. Below you is a pancreatic beta cell, the body's sole source of one of its most important regulatory hormones, insulin.
It says below us. I assume it means this here. Ugh. Is this the cell? Beta cell? I'm not sure. We can look at the orange things. If your blood sugar is low, you can drink some apple juice or eat some graham crackers to get it higher. And, the tower's getting in the way a bit. Why are you not popping up? Don't forget to check your blood sugar levels before and after meals. I think that's all the interactables we have here. Click on this.
This train is
No,
for
thank
insulin
you.
production.
Okay, and that spoke to us in a weirdly differentiated way, and we can get on the train and move on to the next area. I still don't really know what I'm doing, where I'm going, or why. Click, tap and hold on the next blank circle to travel along the insulin metro line. It says now approaching, but hasn't got anything there. So if we click and hold on that one,
The next station is
the next station is now Glut. I don't know if that's an acronym, why it's named, but let's go and visit it anyway. And here we are in Glut on the glucose-ATP line and insulin line. How we got there from pancreatic/bloodstream, I don't know. Can we see anything down there? Anything interesting? We can't because of all the stuff that's in the way. We have this weird field of, I mean, it kind of looks like seaweed underwater. We have some things to interact with here. We have the orange cell. If you take metformin, take it with food. Thanks. Now we have some more glucose to talk to. Where was the Glut entrance again? We enter the cell through the Glut. You can get back on the train to keep going though. I mean, I can't because it's left. This is the Glut access way, which I assume means down here. So let's have a look around just while I'm here. It's a weird bit of platform. Nothing interesting there. Over here we have another info board. Insulin is important because it lets your cells take in glucose and work properly. I mean, that's a useful fact. We have some glucose to talk to. Came from an apple slice. Sure hope I'm not too late to get the insulin release and so on. So the sort of pointless things. And over here we have some more tetras to put together. And it turns out this is Glut. Whoa, thanks for putting me back together. Once we finish talking to him, he flies up, flies into this column, and then explodes for no readily apparent reason. And we can go into the area, and it takes us down to where the train station is. Some more glucose to talk to. Now how to get to mitochondria. And there is, I assume, the cell landscape down below us. I don't know what's going on there. But we have
insulin production.
this train is for insulin production. Why that one has a completed sound file, I'm not sure. We jump in here and we go to the next area. We have this again. We can have a look at this.
The next station is
Pyruvate. Glucose is turned to pyruvate inside your cell through a process called glycolysis. But we can't visit it, so it's not a visitable station. But this next one is,
The next
which is
station is
mitochondria. Mitochondria are cell organs that make energy for the whole cell. We don't know what cell organs are or how any of that works, but nevertheless. Here, for some reason, we start in the train, but we can go out and we have a very similar landscape. We can look at more of the orange things. Mitochondria are organs in your cells that turn glucose into energy. Hi, I'm ATP, a molecule containing energy from the mitochondria. Where do you need me? And various other things to talk to and click on and find out about. Fatigue is a common symptom of diabetes and can be a sign that your cells aren't getting enough glucose. And yeah, there isn't anywhere we can really go here other than get into the next train and so on. And I think we're going to stop there and we can talk about the final critiques for it. So, we've already had some critique. The tutorial doesn't really tutorialize that much. There's a lot of elements there that don't seem to be explained or used anywhere later. I'm guessing this is quite a serious prototype, so I'm not sure why it is here available on itch.io, unless they're using itch.io to show other stakeholders what's going on. I don't know. Anyway, the UI is missing a lot of elements. The usual complaint that I have, there are no quality of life sound controls. You can't turn the music or ambience or anything down while keeping other sound effects in. The sounds themselves are, there's plenty of potential there, but they seem a bit scattered and haphazard, not themed very well, not much going on. The art is, I quite like that kind of, like vector graphic styling. Again, it's a little inconsistent. You can't really tell what's going on the map fields or anything like that. So there's a lot of polishing up to do there. Otherwise it's fine. I could see what's going on and navigate around the world, so it's something at least. But it doesn't feel like it's in any way completed or interesting to go around. Which brings us to the big core critiques here, which is the feeling / gameplay and the immersion / enjoyment. And really the reason why I wanted to jump onto this was to talk about these elements, which is that educational games forget that they're games. Educational games are important to me. I'm undiagnosed, but probably on the spectrum. And that strongly suggests that gamification is a very, very powerful technique for me. A big part of the sort of spectrum is that reward mechanisms in your brain don't work properly. So when you do something that a neurotypical person does, they get a certain amount of dopamine reward for that, which means they're more likely to do it again in the future, which is how they're able to focus and concentrate on things, because they're getting sufficient reward to be subconsciously inspired to continue to focus on whatever their tasks are and things. But when you don't get that reward motivation, you don't get it, that level of focus, because your brain hasn't been taught that this is something you need to do. And gamification is a sort of an artificial way of providing that kind of focus, which is why it's such a powerful educational tool. It helps you concentrate on something that you need to learn, but you don't subconsciously know that you need to learn. So yeah, this is why people get excited about educational games, but also why educational games don't do very well, because they're more about education than the game. And that needs to be inverted. It needs to be a game that teaches you things, not an educational process that seems a bit like a game. It needs to be a game that has education wrapped inside it. And this is not that yet. There is no gameplay mechanic here whatsoever. I'm wandering around in a 3D environment reading text about things, and that's not fun or engaging or immersive in any way. It's not good. Again, I think this is defined as a prototype, although the only place it says prototype there, it's not prototype in the kind of in the game status or anything like that. But it is very much in a prototype state. At least I hope it is, because if this is close to the final product, then this is not going to do well at all. It is not interesting or fun to play. So yeah, I mean that's my big critique. Where is the gameplay mechanics? What is going on? Why was I picking up those Tetra parts? What does the tank on my back do? How am I going to interact with things and be a player character rather than just this as a kind of walking lecture simulator, which nobody wants. That doesn't just being in a 3D environment doesn't make it interesting or immersive or educational. That is a big mistake that a lot of educational games have made over the 30 years that I've been playing games. There's a reason why you don't see very many of them. It's because they are terrible. Compare it to Duolingo, which is possibly not very good educationally, because they're trying to wrap in AI and it's very textbook of the forms of the languages that you're learning. But people like it and people use it a lot because it is an interesting game that kind of triggers you into playing more of it. It immerses you, it pulls you in. And that's what I would love to see in this, is that here is a game that happens to have some educational elements. So, more of the assembling the molecules or whatever through the tetra pieces. We need that, and we need to be saving the day by doing that. Something has happened to the cell world that we're in. Something has damaged all the molecules in that, and we are trundling around repairing them. Again, this feels like where this is intending to go, what it's supposed to be, but it hasn't gone there. It hasn't given us this experience. And I would like to see it coming to that. And I'm making this video just in case that's not where it's going, because that's where it needs to go, because educational games are good, they're very important. I really want to see more of them doing well, but they need to be educational games. And I'm worried that this isn't going there along with the others. So I would like to see this one being a shining example of that, because again, diabetes education is very, very important. It is one of the, I think, biggest, fastest growing conditions, chronic conditions that is across the world. A country I'm fascinated with is Japan, and Japan is a huge diabetes problem. So yeah, I mean, when a country with that level of quality of life and that level of care and consideration amongst people and healthiness, actually, I mean, very long lifespans, very healthy people, minimal obesity and things like that, still has this problem with diabetes. What the hell? It's clearly is a serious condition to deal with. So yeah, I would like to see more people learn about it and understand where the problems are, not just how it works, but also maybe how to avoid it, or how to reduce the risk, or how to help people with it, things like that. So yeah, I am looking forward, dear developer Innerspace, to how you're going to turn this into a game, and I would very much like to see more of it. And to anyone who wants to come and play it, come and give it a play, come and give it a poke around. Leave your own comments for the developers, things that you would like to see, elements that you would like to see. Let's help them turn this into something awesome. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope this was interesting for you, and I hope to see you in the next video. Goodbye.